All right, good morning, two-stroke turbo fans. Welcome back to another episode of one of your favorite car enthusiast YouTube creators. What are we doing, Stella? Stella is sitting in the back seat of our 1952 Singer 4AD, and she's giving me a yawn. See the yawn? That means she's very content. She hears my voice, and even though she's a bit camera shy, she really likes going to work. We are getting ready to go to work, although it's a cool and cloudy day, and we're not taking this car. Stella is going to be upset. We're just going to rotate around here, and we're going to introduce a car we haven't been too involved with recently, but last year I did a bunch of sorting on this car, and I've had it for, the backstory is probably 20 years. Didn't have any floors, had a huge dent in this quarter panel. Engine was maybe it would run, maybe it wouldn't. It's now running pretty well. It's got a few little issues, mostly with overheating, and I think I've got something figured out. It's been really strange. I've redone the cooling system a couple of times, and it only seems to overheat when you're driving 50 miles an hour and faster. Let me show you what I think I figured out. It's rear engine, rear wheel drive, 850 cc's or 853 cc's, something like that. It is a Renault Dauphine, if you haven't figured that out, in 1966. The way it works is air is taken in from under the car and on the sides of the car. Up behind the back seat, it is drawn up to the front of the radiator, which is right there. Let me turn my light on. Oop, light was on. And this is our fan. And you can see the fan is encompassed by a shroud, and there is a thermostat that is now in this radiator hose. It's an inline thermostat. I'm not sure of the temperature. It's the only one that's available for a rear engine Renault, and I didn't have one originally. I put it in. It didn't seem to make a difference. Radiator seems good, doesn't leak, but I noticed I take my finger, see how I can move the fan? I can move the fan and it's not moving the belt. You see that? I didn't realize that tensioner down there is adjustable. I thought it was fixed. There's a nut on the back side. Let's see if I can show you. Right under here where my finger is, there's a nut. You loosen that nut and you can pivot this tensioner right here with the Zerk fitting on it, and you can tighten this belt. This belt is too loose, and what I think might be happening, I may have just solved my problem, is at high RPM the belt slips and the water pump doesn't turn, and or the fan isn't turning. So today I'm going to try to figure that out. Also, I'm going to duct my air intake for the carburetor off to the side somehow. I got to get it away from the hot exhaust. So right now it's ingesting hot air into the carburetor directly from the heat that's rising. Every 11 degrees that you can reduce the temperature gives you, I don't know, like a point or percentage point of horsepower, and the engine runs cooler. So those two things we're going to work on. We're going to take this car to work today, and I'm going to show you how it drives. But before we do that, we've got to convince Princess Stella here that we're going to switch cars. She's not going to be happy about that. She really likes riding in the back of a Roadster. Who can blame her? It's a pretty cool car as well. But again, skies are cool. We got to get this thing sorted out so we can drive it reliably. It's a pretty cool car, but it needs to be literally cool. So apparently this is going to be more difficult than I thought. Now, my shop dog has taken up comfort laying on the car cover in the Singer 4AD convertible roadster. Come on, let's go. We got to go to work. Come on. I'm going to try to appease her. I put a furry blanket in the back of the Renault Dauphine, trying to see if I can get her to change her comfort habits and ride with me. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Come on, we gotta go. Come on, come on. Good girl, good girl. Come on. I know it's hard getting out of a nice cozy bed. Oh, give me a gun. No, no, no. We gotta go in this car. Come on, this one. This one. There we go. Hop up there. There we go. Okay, we got the dog in the right car. Now, give me a little yawn. There you go. You know, just standing back and looking at this thing, this little French beauty, it's a pretty good looking car. It's missing its bumpers. I haven't yet got to that, but the bodywork's done. I did a quick paint job a few years ago. I did some interior enhancements. I've got everything figured out. I fixed the seatbelt issue. When you pulled on the seatbelt, it rotated the bolt and it ripped the paint. I fixed that. I painted the dash. I got the front trunk loaded with all my garbage and recycling that I'm taking to the shop. It's very cavernous. I detailed the crank starter, the engine starter, and the wheel lug nut. It's a combination hubcap puller, lug nut remover, and also it starts the engine if your battery goes dead. Made a nice mat for it, replaced all the metal in there. It was all rotted out, and repainted underside the hood. A very cavernous front trunk area, or frunk as you may call it. Painted the wheels cordon bleu, which is like a Mustang blue actually, and they put the 3-prong spinners on there to simulate the 3 lug nuts. If you notice, there's not 4, there's 3. So let's get in this. Let's get in this hot rod. My dog is ready to go. She's got her window right there with open so she can stick her nose out. She's very happy. These are not Dauphine seats. These are 4CV seats. I like them. They're a little thinner, sleeker, not as much padding, but I think they look really cool. And I just cleaned them up and painted them to match the dash. Let's get in here. American flag. I've got the, what is that called? That's the Dauphine emblem. Dauphine being woman of the sea or princess of the sea, and I'm not sure what this emblem means. So I gotta pump this thing up much. Make sure it's in neutral. Thin little shifter. I'll turn the key. We've got our oil light and our generator light, and looks like we got 3/4 of a tank of fuel. Let's see if it starts. A little bit of a rough starter. There we go. Choke is on. It's got an exhaust heat choke. Let's let her warm up here. I'm going to give her a little bit of gas so she smooths out. I can tell that the engine is oiling. Okay, now we're going to put it in reverse and back up. And away we go. As we're warming up here, it's got 4-wheel disc brakes. That's very unusual for a 1966 model car to have 4-wheel disc brakes. With the 4-wheel disc brakes, we got 4 exhaust tips, 1 for each cylinder. Seems like they're working just fine. Got exhaust leak? We certainly do. We gotta fix that. I think their donut's gone bad. Okay, and we're making our way to work. What are we at? 35 miles an hour. Cruise is real nice. 4th gear. Can't believe I have an exhaust leak. That could also be contributing to my overheating problems. We have aftermarket turn signals. going to be using those. Downshift a second. And, oh, this street's going to be rough because it's a concrete street. They don't cancel, they're not self-canceling, so I'm going to turn them off. But it's a nice day to drive to work. We'll find a smoother street. This one's really rough. I lowered the front of this Dauphine by a couple inches, and that did take some of the suspension out of it. I cut a coil, and this guy's going to try to turn right into me. It looks better, but the ride's a little rougher. And as always, we're going to go by our friend's house here and honk. Honk every day. See if it's home. Honk. This car does have the city horn and the country horn. Super fun. Okay, we made it to the shop. Stella's already tired. She's already searched every bush, nook and cranny for squirrels and rabbits, and there's none. So that's the first thing she does. She jumps out of the car and starts looking for squirrels. And we have a similar frame of mind. We're looking to fix this Dauphine. It's in the shop now. I am super psyched if I can get this fan belt tightened up. I never thought about the fan belt slipping. Look how much, or look how easily I can rotate that fan as the belt does not move. I didn't realize that was happening, so I'm hoping that cures my high RPM overheating problem. Certainly could. And then pumping exhaust into this space is not helping cooling things down much, and then getting the cold air ducted. I have the air filter. I got to get the air. The combustion air needs to be cooled, so it's got to go, I don't know, somewhere's not right by the manifold. We'll figure that out. Maybe that'll have to drag on for a bit. Let's get working on this thing. This is a really cool car. Okay, shop dog Stella is all settled down after her morning little jaunt. You're a cute little puppy dog. Give me a little yawn. Oh, there you go. Yawns are good. Yawns mean that you're very content and happy. So we're going to get content and happy as soon as we fix this Dauphine. Okay, so now we're going to get to the act of actually tightening up the fan belt on our Dauphine. The nut for that tensioner is blind. You can't get to it from this side. I have a mirror down here showing me how to guide my, I think it's a 16-inch long extension all the way along the bottom. It's 14 millimeter. Loosened it up, and then I took a pry bar and I pried my tensioner, and it popped. And now I've got, if I turn the fan, which is very hard to do, it turns the whole motor. So I'm hoping some play in that, but it's normal, I think. It's now turning the belt, not slipping. So, gosh, that would be great if that will fix my problem. I won't know until I take it on the highway. I'm going to grease that fitting down there and check the fluids, and then I'm going to start working on the exhaust manifold. But that would be key, and I think that may, I don't know. We'll see. If that fixes my overheating problem, I will be so elated, because I was having a hard time figuring it out. It didn't make sense. Now it does. Okay, so I got my Dauphine engine running. Oh my goodness, the fan blows so much better. Like if I hold it, I can totally feel a difference. The choke is kicking off, and I'm looking for my exhaust leak. And to find an exhaust leak, sometimes you got to use a stethoscope, which in this case is a rubber hose. And I think I found it. It's right here at my donut. Kind of as I suspected. It's leaking right out the side here. I can feel the exhaust. So I'm going to pull that apart, see if I can put a new donut in there. Hopefully I got one. Okay, so we got the fan taken care of. Now we're working on the exhaust. And what I decided to do, since it's a metal on metal flange, there's no donut in this coupling right here that's leaking. I took it apart. I re-threaded the bolts because I couldn't get it tight enough. They were rusted. Put on some new washers and clamped it extra tight with a little bit of sauce
at the connection, and then I use my jack to jack up the muffler to hold it in place, and then I just cranked it tight, and I think we got it fixed. Let's take a look here. Let's turn it on. What? You got a dead battery? How can that be? Dead battery. A dead battery connection. Oh, how is that possible? Battery's new. Okay, one of these. Oh, look at the corrosion building up on the negative there. And our positive is a little loose. Let's see if this will help. This is all sorting stuff, folks. We got to get this figured out. Okay, so the positive needs to be tightened up, and that's got to get cleaned out. Let's just see if it'll crank. It's strange that happened. Oh, what do we got? Okay, we got lights. There we go. Oh yeah, it sounds quieter already. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's smooth, no more exhaust into my engine compartment, overheating my carburetor. It should run better. Let's turn this off. We got to remember to fix the battery. That makes me happy. I'm psyched. I really want to take this car to a car show, and just getting these little things figured out really makes me happy. So the next thing I got to do is I got to pipe the intake air from the carburetor, and I got to run it like a hose, maybe in front of the radiator, like in that gap right there. I got to get it cooler. I don't know that I'll do that today. The fan is working so much better, I can tell, because it's blowing acorns and nuts and pieces of debris at me when I rev it up and hold it. So I know the belt's not slipping anymore, and I think that's taking care of my, well, I won't know that it has taken care of my overheating problems, but I sure have been through the ringer on this. I hooked up the heater core. I bled the heater core. It's got these little valves on top and on the bottom. Coolant, thermostat, hoses, no leaks, radiator flushes fine. Even got under the car and made sure that there's nothing blocking the entrance. I think it's fixed, but we'll know later on our trip this weekend. You guys are going to follow along. We're going to go for an extended road trip on this thing. I can't let the cat out of the bag, but that's what's going to happen. All right, fancy little French car, you. Wee. Love this thing. Thanks for coming along on the journey. We'll catch you on the next video. Au revoir.